So I'm filming this one in the middle of Rwanda in East Africa, while my local cleaning company in Los Angeles has generated over $150,000 in revenue this month alone. I started my business over a decade ago and have been traveling for a decade across 60 different countries while running my local business. Now, in that time, I found out that most of the traditional digital nomad businesses are not really sustainable, or they require skill sets that most people don't have, or they just flat out don't work. Now, I've tested what works, what doesn't work, and what's actually going to be sustainable long term. In today's video, I'm going to break down the top 17 ideas that I have that are proven models that will allow you to travel the world and actually have a sustainable income stream. And by the end of the video today, you'll know exactly what models to start, how to start them, how I would start them, startup costs involved, and also which ones best suit your skill set. So with that, let's dive into the 17 best business models you could start today to go remote. Let's talk about mobile room repair. Now, this is something I didn't even know existed, but I saw someone tweet about it where they paid $100 to have their rim buffed out for their car. You might be thinking, who's going to pay $100 for that? I would never pay $100 for that. The truth is, sometimes we are not our customers, right? There's a lot of people out there who happily pay $100 to $200 for their rim. For example, if they're leasing a high-end car and they need to return it, they don't want to get charged for it. If they just have a high-end car and they want to keep it maintained, if it takes less time for them to do it, no one's going to do it themselves, right? They don't know how. It's actually very easy to buff out a rim, but people don't want to damage things, so they're going to hire professionals for it. Now, if I was going to tackle this niche, I would simply go to a high-density area where there's a lot of luxury vehicles and start posting on the cars, essentially. What I'd probably offer is, hey, your rims are scratched up. We'll buff out one of the rims for free, which is $150 value. Most people are not going to say, great, I have one really, really shiny rim and the rest of them suck. So that's an easy way of getting in and actually helping all the business for it. It operates mobile. You could send the people out to the location to buff it out. There's no shop needed, low overhead. I love this business model. So I have a buddy who went to Vegas and he had a few drinks and got very hungover the next morning and was feeling awful. And he's, mid-30s, and all of us know after you become 30, your hangovers get infinitely worse, right? So what he did is he went on Google in bed when he was dying and typed in like mobile IV clinic or mobile nurse for hydration and booked online. And within 15 minutes, a nurse showed up who had an IV bag of fluid to hydrated him, and he felt so much better. He had a long flight to catch that morning and did not want to be hungover for this long flight, so paid around $250 for this service. And the funny part is she routed the iPad with like a tip thing as well for that. I love this model because it's mobile. I like remote local type businesses, right? You can go out to the person's location. It's usually 15-minute treatments and you can make a lot of money from it. The key would be finding the labor, right? So you're gonna have to go to markets where there's enough density of people, so you could find nurses or people want to do things part-time. The actual supplies and stuff is very low cost. It's just saline or whatever it is in a bag for hydration, and that's pretty much it. I haven't seen any large franchise players in there, so my play would be make sure it works and potentially even franchise it out, because I think this is a killer model. Let's talk about a remote cleaning business. This is my favorite out of all of them. I'm obviously very biased because I actually own a business that is. I've made this for 11 years now. I started my location in Los Angeles after wanting to escape the 9-to-5. Eventually quit my job and started traveling the world. So my business is in Los Angeles. I'm currently in East Africa, in Rwanda right now, managing my business fully remotely. And we have a bunch of franchisees who are doing the same thing. My business in LA does almost 1.5 million in revenue. I probably invest 3 to 5 hours per week into it. You can get it to a point where it's very consistent cash flow coming in. This is the beauty of a maid service model. It's been around forever. Things get dirty all the time. AI is not going to disrupt it. So once you invest the time to build a business, systemize it, and grow, this can be a stable cash flow business for a very, very long time. So this is by far my favorite out of all of them. If you're interested, check out Made This Franchise to learn more, because you could just copy exactly what I did in your market and leapfrog the competition, move way, way faster. I love hyper-local businesses which can be run remote, right? One of those which I love is a local business newsletter. Now in every city, there's now newsletters which take the place of newspapers of what's happening in the local market. A lot of the big cities, New York, Los Angeles, already have big companies doing this, but a lot of the smaller markets do not have this. So a lot of people are starting to get into this game, which is a local business newsletter. Why I love this, it is very low overhead and high margin, right? You have to curate the content, but once the content's there, the play is using Facebook ads to get people to subscribe to your newsletter. The more subscribers you have, which are free, and they don't pay anything, the more opportunity you have to get sponsors in that local market for that local newsletter. Again, once you build the audience, it is very secure, right? It's very focused on one specific geography. It's very insulated. I love it. It's very low overhead and high margin. So I was talking to a buddy of mine, shout out to Ryan. He runs a podcast called Lighting Secrets, where he does this as a business, which is landscape lighting. Landscape lighting is where you help fix up someone's backyard and install a lot of really, really aesthetic lighting. This is a great upsell if you're already a landscaper or contractor, because you're already in there. You could upsell something where the average ticket's $5,000 to $10,000. The thing is, your customers, which are the homeowners, they're not going to do this themselves. They're not going to set up the lighting themselves. And you can find contractors who know how to do this. It's just a matter of sales. So this is a big perceived value on the high ticket amount, which I really, really like. The next one is a diaper pickup and drop off service. Now, I didn't think this one would actually work, but I found businesses doing this successfully, and I was super curious. So I started diving into why this actually works. And the logic makes a lot of sense. So composting is a big thing now. It's growing massively. A lot of parents and families want to do compostable diapers, right? So they'll buy it from Amazon, but when they throw it away, they simply throw it in the trash can, and they can't compost it themselves. What this service does is, number one, picks up dirty diapers one time a week, and then actually throws them away in a compostable way, and also they sell compostable diapers and do a drop-off as well. So if you think about new parents who have money but don't have time, they're tired, they want someone to pick up and drop off the diapers. They want someone to pick up and drop off or give them compostable diapers. They want to do it in an eco-friendly way. That's what this model is. It's a subscription model. So this company called Tiny Tots, which does this. I think this would mostly work in markets where composting is really kind of a big deal. LA, San Francisco, New York, where you could also get high density neighborhoods. So you could do rapid amounts of pickups at once. You could target suburbs where there's mostly new parents. So, ages between 30 and 40 usually. And offer this type of service and see how many you can pick up. It's similar to dog poop picking up, where the ticket amount is going to be low for the actual pickup, but the density makes it very, very easy, and you could upsell an actual product as well. All right, so let's talk about dog poop cleanup, which is funny that this is actually a business, but I met someone who's doing this very profitably too. Very unsexy, but essentially what it is you go to people's homes and pick up the dog poop, which is in their backyard. Go figure, a lot of people don't like picking up poop, but they have dogs, right? And what you could do is offer weekly service where you go to their backyard, just go in, grab the poop, take it and go. Now you might think, well, how much are people really willing to pay for that? It's not that much, $15 to $25 per visit. So the key here is it has to be all in a very dense area. The route has to be highly optimized. So I don't think this model would work in places like Los Angeles where traffic is just a pain. You kind of want to hyper target a neighborhood. And if you think about it, it's going to take 5 minutes for a worker of yours to go and grab the poop from every place and go to the next place. So if you stack these up well, it could be a very solid route that you build to have some easy cash flow. You'd of course need to target suburbs where there's a lot of dogs, and there's a lot of places where you could cross market. Mobile pet groomers and things like that. You could cross sell as well. This is an idea I've liked for 4 or 5 years. I have not seen it be done well, and I haven't really seen it be done in general. So this is one where I'm like, I think it'll work, but I don't have real life data on the fact that this will work. Drone window washing. So let's talk about it. You ever seen a window washer for a high-rise building? They're on those scaffolds and they're going up and wiping down the windows for commercial buildings. It's insane. There's an insane amount of insurance requirements. You have to get the whole scaffold and everything set up. You have to pay for the labor of the person. It's very, very expensive. Now, many of those buildings, they're really, really nice. They want those types of people. But there's a lot of buildings which are mid-sized commercial where they're not going to pay for that kind of stuff, right? So what if you could use drones? And there's drones which can be attached to a hose. They exist right now. Check out Lucid Drones, Lucid drones, where it washes the windows, panes of a lot of buildings. And you could just do that. It won't be as good as a human doing it, but it gets the job done. You could do this for small commercial buildings. You could do this for residential buildings if you want, which I don't really love because I like the contract-based stuff of large commercial dogs. You could do this for solar panels because on solar panels, someone has to get to the roof to clean off the dust and make it more efficient. So I actually really like the model. I want someone to do it, and I think it would work. So man cave setup. This kind of came out of a necessity for myself. I was like, I kind of want a man cave, right? It sounds awesome, just a cool den with a lot of really cool stuff. And there's not really any man cave setup services because it is a local type of thing. There's websites where you could like order man cave type stuff, but then you have to set it up yourself. So what if there's a service which provides this, right? And you could pair it along with like an epoxy floor setup type of thing for garages, but you bundle the AV, the lighting, the floors, the furniture, all that kind of stuff. It's just done for you, single price. So I'd probably say, hey, it's going to be from your vision. Select one of these 4 type of options. You could select from my vendors all the types of stuff you want. It's going to cost you 25 grand all in. You give them a flat rate price. You don't like say, all right, well, this costs this much, this costs this much. Just give them a flat rate price. Have a contractor go and set everything up for them, right? So it's harder to get these sales because not everyone wants it, but you can charge 15 grand at you and 50 grand to set it up in a big way. Plus, you could probably make margin on the products as well. Again, I've not seen this done yet, so I wonder if there's other things I'm not considering, but as a high level concept, I really like this. One very under the radar service, which not many people know about, is snowbird watching services. Now, there's a lot of people who go from like New York to Florida to their vacation home when it gets winter time. They go to Arizona, whatever. There's a lot. They're called snowbirds, and many times when they leave, their home is empty. What they do is they pay a snowbird watching service where they pay someone to come in once a month, turn on the faucets, make sure no one's broken in, do a really quick cleaning to make sure it doesn't get crazy dusty. Like this really exists where people will pay that. And usually someone who needs to go in for like an hour, double check everything, do a quick wipe, make sure things are good, grab the mail, whatever. You charge about $100 a month just to go in and do that. We see this a lot with Made This because we work with a lot of Airbnbs and vacation rentals to clean them. And many homeowners asked if we could do the snowbird service for them. So I know it works. And there's some companies like Eye on Your Home. They're the ones who actually offer this professionally as a service. I think this is a very easy sell if you are in a market that's conducive for this. When it comes to local businesses, I also like businesses which are high ticket amount and purely based on sales. One thing which comes to mind for that is painting. Painting, the average ticket's like, $10,000 to $20,000. So it's pretty large. You could scale really, really fast. The part I don't love about painting is typically a one-time service. If someone gets their home painted, usually they're just going to wait another 10, 15 years before painting it again, right? Minimum. So there's not really so much recurring revenue in there, but if you are someone who's really into sales, you like marketing, you like getting the sale, this is one where you could go really fast, but you're going to be hunting every single day. And maybe that's okay. For a lot of people, if the cash flow is good enough, you could outsource it to a contractor to actually do the painting. This is a proven model that's very focused on the sales play. There's riches in the niches, and there's riches in doing the dirty work. And there's nothing as dirty as hazard cleanup. I know someone who runs a franchise doing this, and it's hazard cleanup. So it could be like hoarder houses. Sometimes they're even doing like meth labs and stuff, and they're actually going in and doing the cleanup for it. You could charge insane prices, $15,000 to $25,000 just to clean up the home because no one else is willing to do it. A lot of times you get contracts with the police department who need you to come clean up a crime scene. The downside is, of course, like it requires a strong stomach. Not everyone really has that, but it is a high ticket. It is recession proof. There's also an ancillary real estate play. Like if something's too much of a hoarder house or too much of a whatever house, you might say, hey, I need to charge 50 grand for this, and just go to the homeowner and say, can I just buy this, and offer them a discounted rate to grab that real estate and then do the cleanup yourself. One I really like is to become an automations wizard. Now, this is kind of like you doing freelance work at the beginning, but pretty much going to people and say, hey, what do you need automated? I got you, right? There's some of these people who exist on Upwork or Radius freelancers. I don't think a lot of them are marketing themselves as well. I would probably pick a niche. I might go after specifically home service companies, let's say cleaning companies, and say, I will automate everything. Here's the things I've already automated. You just pay me per project and I'll get it done, right? I think this is great if you want to do freelance type stuff and you kind of know what you're doing and you like tech. So many businesses don't know what they don't know with what to automate. And if you could go to them and provide value overnight saying, hey, I already know what you're doing. I already know how to automate it. Let me show you. Let me do one of these for you for free. I think it's incredible. And eventually you could upsell them on retainer services as well. By say $300 a month to maintain the automations. And you could easily show them the value out of that as well. So I really like automations on demand. Here is an idea I think has insane value that I am shocked more people don't do, but this is mostly reserved for people who have experience in business in general a bit. Modernizing old school businesses. It's a done for you systems upgrade. Now, there's a lot of people searching for businesses to buy, like old school businesses to buy. The immediate way to add value to these businesses overnight is to insert ways of systemizing stuff. So you go to an old school business, you add SOPs, right? You add an operations manual, you insert global talent, you insert AI, you insert automations, you do all these things. Overnight, the value increases. Now, there's a lot of people out there trying to buy businesses to do that themselves. Instead, it's kind of like the gold rush. Like the people who made the money weren't the people who actually went to go find the gold. They're the ones who sold the shovels to the gold miners. The people who are the gold miners are the people trying to find businesses to buy, the searchers. Go to the searchers, let them find something to buy, and say, I will, once you've bought something, I will do all this work for you and add value overnight. I like it because you could provide value literally immediately, and they know it too. Like, I bought this business for $300,000 because you inserted X, Y, and Z. I already know it's worth $400,000, and you're only charging me $20,000. That's a great value add. You could even go to them and go in as a consultant partner. So you could go with them to analyze their deals with them and provide this value add in terms of consultants and knowledge. Again, you kind of have to have the base level knowledge to begin with a little bit for this, but I think it's a fantastic thing to do to offer as a service. Here's an idea which is very relevant for the current environment and changes really, really quickly, is being the AI guy when it comes to SMBs. There's so many new AI tools that are out there, and it's so freaking hard to keep track of all of it and know which ones are relevant for your business. If you become the go-to AI expert for SMBs, small, medium businesses, and be their AI guy, that's an incredible service to add and to offer them. The way I would go about it is starting a newsletter and just call it AI for SMBs and only post about AI tools, which would be really helpful for SMBs and home service businesses and how they could implement it. Then, of course, you just have the upsell saying, you want me to implement this for you? Just contact me and I'll do it. You can make a lot of posts online, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, whatever, about these types of services and start being the go-to AI guy. I like all these services you could add because pretty much overnight, you could add value add stuff to SMBs and small companies who don't know how to do it themselves. For example, internal chatbots, SOP automation, email follow-ups, all these types of things are possible. Most people are not going to learn it themselves. So I think everyone and their mom right now has a VA agency. I hate that model, right? Which is, hey, pay me $5,000 and I'll find someone to work for your company overseas. It's so easy to find someone overseas. I think it's just an oversaturated market if you do it a general VA agency. What idea I have here is a little bit different because you're going to hyper specialize. I think a really great agency for like an offshore agency is to find setters and closers. So specifically on the sales end. Why I'm honing in on that is because there's an immediate quantifiable value add. If you bring in someone who's a really good setter, a setter is someone who sets up the initial call and works the lead to get it to the main sales guy. The company which is buying from you can quantify and say, actually, like, you know, this guy found me this setter for $1,000 and I'm able to generate X number in sales from that person. The ROI is justified, right? I like that it's so clear that, you know, what you're getting from this hire actually makes sense. On top of that, I think there's really, really good markets to find setters. Now, I specifically say setters, which are the people who are working the leads and handing off to the main sales guy because there's less training involved. It's pretty standardized with how to follow up with setters. I would go to countries like South Africa, where a lot of people have like a British sounding accent where Americans love, and recruit setters from there because it's lower cost as well. Train them up and then offer the setters as a service to people, either to place it in their agency or to hire you as a setter. That's how I would go about with creating a VA agency, to get hyper specialized in the sales and setter position. All right, in the vein of global talent, here's one hole that I see right now, is a lot of people help you place talent overseas into your business, but no one helps train them. And it's like, all right, cool, here's your person, like, go ahead and train them. The fact is, most businesses have no idea how to properly train the talent. They have no clues. So, you know, they think, oh, global talent didn't work, where the truth is they just didn't train them properly. What if you got hyper specialized in one niche? I'll make it up like maid services, because I know that. And you offered a global talent university course. Someone recruits global talent, drops into a global talent university. They get trained on the key software pieces. They get trained on basic sales script. Get trained on how to work with American customers. And it's like a forward program. And the business owner who's hired that person has paid you to train their person for them. Now, obviously, you can't train them on everything because that's going to be a lot of business customized stuff, but you can train them on basics. I really love this idea. I think the only way to make it work is not make it too generalized. You're going to have to focus on a specific niche, like specifically for franchisor or specifically for HVAC companies. So you could get hyper targeted on what you're going to train that global talent person to do. It's a great value add and upsell. So there you have it. Here are the top 17 business models that I would start today if I wanted a fully remote business model that's sustainable. Now, a couple things I want you to remember. The goal is just to get started, right? There's so many models that work. Don't fall into analysis paralysis. Try to find the best business model for you. The most important thing is you pick a model which has long-term sustainability and you actually work on it day in, day out. Now, we have a lot of franchises, part of my Made This system, who've bought in because they want the help. They want the coaching, the accountability, the support to make sure they follow a business model which is proven, and that's going to allow them to escape the 9 to 5 and achieve location, financial freedom, and time freedom. So if you're interested in shortcutting everything and finding the cheat code, check out madethisfranchise.com to learn more and see if you qualify.